So run your fingers down my back and help me pollute the water. Yeah, with the finest cognac. Lacerate or evaporate.
Hello everyone, welcome. Well, we have just a little bit of work to do today. What's it gonna be? We'll see. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Is everyone else seeing on the live stream the schedule instead of the me? No, that must just be me. Okay. Let me do a refresh. Do a refresh and then get caught behind the wall of commercials. Okay, well, I'm just gonna assume that I'm actually here. I'm actually a human being existing in this world. Alright. What do we got? We've got all of the parts, well, most of all of the parts in. And I'm at the point where I'm starting to carry the weathering of the stone, because there's a very clear flow of the rock formation through the ruins. Went down for a few seconds. Okay. I feel good, so I'm glad you confirmed that I'm good. But here's a thought. Before I hop onto that, I do have this, which is another thing that we've been working on streams before, which is my texture. What is it? It's a texture tile. Texture tile. Okay. I did a mold. I did it, you guys, kind of. Ran into some problems, but I mostly did it. So let's see how the mold turned out. As soon as I figure out how to unratchet this. I hate these ratchet things. They're like some kind of crazy logic puzzle that I've never quite understood. I just have to sort of monkey around, and eventually a thing happens. It's just like this latch, and there's this latch, and there's this pin, and there's this spring. Let's see. I feel like it should be. Am I wrong here? It should be this, right? That's what it feels like to me. Papa John's commercial. Yep, that's what we're here for. Oh, look at that. If I do both of these at the same time. There we go. Okay, now I got some slack. I've heard pizza is popular. I should try it someday. Pretty shocked that none of that rubber leaked through. Pleasantly shocked. Can that be a thing? pleasantshocks.com. You probably shouldn't search for that. You might regret it. There we go. Nice little rubber book. Now, if we're lucky, one of these sides will simply peel right off. If it's got to peel, well, it definitely has a lot of goopy Vaseline around it, because that's how you make sure the two parts aren't going to stick together. Calzones, the incredible invention of folding a pizza in half. This is going to be our pour spout. Spout? Is that the right word? It doesn't sound right. Spout feels like something's coming out, not something going in. Hold on, I gotta listen to this for maximum, what is that, ESMR? ASMR? Okay, ready? It's a satisfying sound. There we go. Side one. And then this part is just there to take up space, so that when I remove it, like so, still very slimy. All these little white flecks, let's see, can you see that? Yeah, those little white flecks are because the rubber that I used was, I guess, a couple months old, and the one of the parts was very chunky. So I don't think this is good because wherever these are means that it's not like a fully mixed silicone. It sounds wrong both ways. Silicone sounds wrong in one way, silicon sounds wrong in another way. Silicon, also wrong. All three ways to say that you sound wrong. I guess it's kind of like Oregon, but you know, everyone in the Pacific Northwest knows you say it Oregon, even though that sounds stupid to anyone who sees it spelled out. Anyway, yeah, so I expect that when I cast this under pressure, the resin is going to either be resisted more by the little white flakes or less. In either way, there's going to be inconsistency in the surface. Fortunately, I mean, it's like a ruined floor, right? So even if there's weird pimples and dimples and stuff, you're not going to notice, probably. That's my hope, at least. Now I'm going to a specialty wood hardware store that has a pressure tank that is 5 gallons today. In fact, I have to, I'm going to be doing a little bit shorter stream today because I have to go to that before the schedules. Just trust me, there's schedule things. The point being, I'm going to call it, I'm going to do it hour long instead of hour and a half today. Heads up for anyone who cares. Okay, so the cool thing is now that I have this mold, like unmoldified, I can actually take it to the store, test it, and make sure that it's going to fit in the pressure pot that I'm going to spend hundreds of dollars on. I have a pressure pot. You can see right there. See that little guy? It's not the vacuum, and it's not the vacuum chamber pot. It is right there in the middle. That's my pressure pot, but that is maybe 2.5 gallons, maybe less. I don't know what it is, but it is not big enough to fit this bad boy. So we got to get a bigger one. Silicones. I like that. That's a good way to put it. I'll, you know, at least you're sacrificing right soundedness for a little bit of humor, a little spicy humor in your day. That's not spicy at all. A little dad humor in your day. Okay, so back to Cracky Cracks. Where we left off, we had started some of these ones. You can see those pink slashes through there really illustrate where they're going. And then I started working on the bottom side here, having like little chunks and bits that fall through. For those of you who haven't been around recently, here's some really awesome reference that I found. Very similar ruins to this. And so I'm looking at this and, come on, there we go. And looking at the particular way fractures occur and, you know, what parts chip and flake away and that sort of thing. And so I'm trying to mimic that. But especially on the underside of these sort of arches that they carve out, you get these like, where's the other one? I have another one. Oh yeah, okay. So here's where you can see how a lot of bits can chip and fall out and down. So I was using that as reference for this bottom shelf here. And then also getting these tall pillars established, which meant adding stuff there. So we're going to see if they actually come off or not. This is going to be exciting. because I'm guessing the freeform air that I used to fill that is going to stick pretty well. I might need to actually remove the rock sides. There we go. There was your Inception / Doctor Strange homage. Okay. It probably would have been wise to do this part before the clay had a chance to really harden. Let's see how difficult it is to whittle down. Whittle. This is not too bad. I'm guessing I can just kind of wiggle it out like a loose tooth. Yeah. I'm guessing I can knock everything over. Come on. Yeah, you can do it. There we go. Yeah, a lot easier to whittle on when it's not attached to the base. One of the things I don't feel confident about yet is this part right here. So, let's wait for the camera to kind of figure out. It's maybe hard to see because of the pinkosity, but so there's these ridges where it goes this way, it drops down, it goes this way, it drops down, right? And that's, as the rocks flake, that's a pretty natural way for it to do it, like I was showing in that reference. However, I have these pillar pieces that are effectively interrupting that process, right? And I need to figure out how to reconcile these two different elements. The element of the rocks flaking away and falling up naturally, and these pillars staying connected, right? Because you would expect if a slab was flaking off, then it would take part of the pillar with it, since the pillar is carved out of the same rock. So one way to maybe handle that would be to do some flaking and chipping where these two places intersect. Another one would be to carry through this line as a, you know, just a little bit of a crack-ish thing, or divot. Maybe both of those things. I don't know, I'm gonna be playing around with it. You could also use this as a nice little sippy cup if you're thirsty, until it gets attached to the diorama. Making sure I can find where it came from exactly. I think that's about there. Feels right. Okay. Ooh, maybe it would be helpful to number these. This one. Number 1. This is the front. Front number 2. Never tried writing a 4 upside down. That may or may not be correct once I flip it right side up. Okay. Now we get to be serious about crack. As I learned as a kid growing up in the 80s, during the height of the war on drugs. This is my important takeaway from the war on drugs. Are you ready for this? I saw this on multiple billboards all over town all the time. Don't jack with crack. There you go. Millions, probably billions of dollars went into this message. And it worked. I never did jack with crack. No, I take it back. I did slightly jack with crack, but I never I never ingested it in any way. The jacking part, that's a long story I don't want to get into. That's right. Who was that? Was that Clinton? Who was that goofball that I tried marijuana, but I never inhaled? Oh man, was that a perfect Bill Clinton or what? Okay, so one of the things that I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm not doing this. Speaking of crack, I don't want to do this just like a thin line crack all the way through. I've been working to do more of these like places where it like flakes. It's not just like a cartoon lightning crack. These cracks come from places. They come from where rocks join together. Well, I shouldn't say they join together. Rocks are formed underground. Lots of chemicals are mixing, lots of heat, lots of pressure. They squish together. They are imperfectly mixed usually. And so those chemicals have differences in their properties of hardness, all the properties rocks have. So when weathering occurs, when fractures, when et cetera, happen, these rocks are going to split apart at those places where the chemical boundaries exist. Different kind of rocks have different kind of joins in that way, and most of the time when they flake away, according to my reference, they do so in like a flake comes off. It's not just like a cracky crack. Here's some of my favorite rocks that I want to try to reproduce. So when you see a crack, like so, it is almost always accompanied by a big flake, that, like a chunk that flaked off, right? It's very hard to find reference of just a lightning-shaped crack just sort of splayed across a surface. You know, here's some good cracky cracks, but there are chunks missing as well. So anyway, all that to say, I'm trying to do more than just cracks. So to that end, I feel like chisel is a pretty good option for getting some bigger effects going on in that department. One thing that I learned with the foam, how to make really nice cliff faces, is you start with a line like so. And then you kind of go in from the side and you make sure that the tip of your knife is getting past that line a little bit. And then you just pop it off, and there you've got a very nice little chip. And you know, you can work additional cracks out from there, but in general, that gives a pretty realistic thing. So I'm trying to do similar things. Different materials are more or less inclined to fracture the way rocks do. I've got several different resins that I used for this. I was just kind of using up whatever old batches of resin I had on hand. So I think some of these are going to work better than others. And that's okay. I want to have a variety of cracky, flaky styles on here because that's how most rocks work. Now, one of the unfortunate parts of this process is that the fact that the material is like black that I'm carving into, and the surface, you know, I painted gray, it's kind of hard to actually see the real effect of what I'm doing until I throw gray paint on there again. So I'm not quite doing it blind, but I'm doing it semi-blind. Ooh, I should look for chisels while I'm at the wood store. My chisels are kind of garbage. Although, really what I need is to figure out how to sharpen chisels. Which means I need to learn how to use a whetstone, I think. I'm mostly concerned with this front area. That's the side you're going to see. But I do kind of want to do at least a cursory pass on the back, because I've designed this whole back wall to be removable so I can stick the camera back there. And if the camera is back there shooting through, then it is going to at least see a blurred out version of the back of these pillars. So I need to be cognizant of that. Don't want them to be completely unfinished back there. Occurs to me I could do multiple steps of flakiness in here. I think what I'm going to do is just slap some gray paint on, just as a sanity check, to see if this is an effective technique. Yeah, so see that little, where I was doing just like one main line and then cutting up into it, but this little crack right there adds just that extra bit of flaky goodness that I think is a good thing. So I want to make sure I continue to do that in my others. Yeah, I just got this camera uncomfortably close to myself. I'm not sure how I managed to do that. I have a new rig set up that I'm really excited about, where I get to, but I'm still working out the kinks, obviously, but I can spin you guys like that. Isn't that cool to just be spinned around? It's so fun. Anyway, the thing I'm struggling with is the micro adjustments now. And for clarity, the spinning isn't just for the sake of spinning. It's so that I can take you with me to various parts of my shop and not have to like have you just be looking at my back when I'm, you know, at the paint booth or over there working on molds or whatever. Spinning for spinning's sake is rarely the goal unless you're a theme park ride designer. Or maybe a clockmaker? No, but even then, the spinning serves a higher purpose. Oh, maybe if you're an ice skater or a ballerina, spinning for spinning's sake is a thing. Where's the front? Where's the front? I think that line is fine.
One of my greatest fears has been stuck in a circular way of life.
This resin is quite a bit tougher than the other stuff. But like I said, different properties on these in different areas is fine, because I want variation in the way the rock is chipping. Sometimes you get that variation through deliberate stylistic choices, and sometimes you can get that variation through just the accident of the materials that you happen to use for that. Both are valid. Oh, Freya's Valkyrie, yeah, thank you. That's another good example of time for where spinning for spinning's sake is valid. There's probably more exceptions to the rule that I randomly created than there are applications of the rule. I'm trying to think if there's a way to do what I'm doing right now with a Dremel tool. It should be a lot faster, obviously, but I don't know that there is actually. Because to get this sort of like very clean, sharp, crispy edges, I don't think any of the bits could really reproduce that. these chisels would be just so much better if they were sharp. I think I've got a general idea for how I want to do these. Now I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this faster, easier, foamier background here. I think a sharp knife will help. Cover your ears. So I think I want to make one of these parts like really collapsed out to give it some good variation. the second floor is probably the right place to do that. Kind of like that. Feels like a happy accident to me. Trying to find where there's a big chunk falling off and what the general demeanor of it is. Seems pretty noisy and haphazard. I mean, it never actually is. There's always reasons why things happen, and the better you can understand those reasons, the better you can reproduce it at will instead of on accident. I'm still at the point where any great thing that looks awesome that happens is about half the time it's because of an accident. I want to get that ratio up to where, you know, it's more like 75 to 80% purposeful awesomeness. But you got to get through the accidental phase first. You accidentally do something and you're like, oh wait, that worked really well. Let's see if I can figure out how I did that. That's the process of the art. I think that's working out pretty well. So I think I'm going to grayify this to confirm that it's good-ish. And yeah, it looks like we're coming up on my hour, so let's go ahead and get ready to raid. Please. If you are interested in any of this kind of stuff I'm doing, check out my YouTube channel where I have tutorials and such. I've got an Instagram where I share my works in progresses. And yeah, do that. All right, thanks everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.